feeling tough. Sweating through the days, ain't no broken plan. Talking with the folks from this thirsty land.
Well, welcome once again, everyone, to the Farmer Tan podcast. Thank you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. We appreciate you being here with us today. And my name is Scott Foster. I got the honor of hosting this. The rest of the folks in the podcast have had a very busy couple months. And so I thought I could talk a little bit. So Jake's here. Hi, Jake.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. You okay with, losing not doing the hosting thing right now? Is this hurting a little bit?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I feel like I voluntarily let you have the reins of this thing a little bit.
Well, see, what it was you signed the 25th Amendment just for a moment. You have stepped away from the office, but as soon as you're ready to get back into it, you just have to sign another letter and you're back in.
Yeah, that'll be fine. We'll certainly work on that as we go. But no, I appreciate you stepping in tonight.
Absolutely.
Looking fun to just riding along.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of what we're doing. And Jared's here too. Hi, Jared.
Hi.
Jared's been working hard all day. He came in a little dusty and dirty.
Yeah, it's still dry.
It's the weather update.
Yeah, here's our weather update. Still dry.
Dry and windy.
Still dry.
Man, and we have a fourth today. Erin is here. How are you?
I'm great.
You've got lots of stories to tell in all of this, too.
I'm sure I have one or two.
Yes. Well, as I'm sure most of you are aware, and if you are not, it has been a trying couple months. How far out are we here? What was the date? What was that Thursday? I can't remember.
I think March 12th. I think.
Is that right?
I think
could. Well, okay. I think it would be. It would be. Let me look at the calendar. Yes, it is March 12th.
So yeah,
So we are
a month and change.
Wildfires broke out that day in the South Hills, as they're known around here, and we eventually would call it the Cottonwood Fire. It'd be the second biggest fire in Nebraska history, burning almost 200,000 acres. I don't know if I heard the last amount.
Yeah, 230 or something like that, 235 maybe. And I think it's only second to the Morrill Fire that was also burning at the same time. So yeah, it's been crazy.
The two fires together, the Morrill and the Cottonwood Fire, were the 9th biggest fire in the United States history. So really something. And the beat goes on. Continue to see fires pop out once in a while in places just recently up in Sumner.
Mm-hmm.
It's dry. So we haven't had really measurable precipitation maybe since October.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah, of 24.
Right. I think you're right. So
if you have not switched from smoking to spitting, now is the time to do it.
We could use all of it.
Yes.
It rained in Lexington for about 30 seconds and we could hear it.
So you guys hogged it all.
And it was like, wow, just really something. But let's get into this a little bit, guys, because I think everybody ought to kind of hear the stories. And sometimes when you think, oh, we got a grass fire, how much damage does that really do? They don't go that fast. It's not that big of a deal. And we've learned from that, haven't we, Jared? You were very close to it, and things kind of started for you right away.
Yeah, it started over by south of Maxwell, which would be 30 miles to the west of where I am. And if you're a fire, you couldn't have picked a better spot to start. This is tough terrain. There's not road access, lots of trees, lots of fuel in between. And the wind was coming straight out of the west, and it moved so fast that Farnham got called on mutual aid, and there were flames around firemen's homes, and they were still over where it started fighting. They got calls from their families saying, it's by our house, and they said, the same fire, and they said yes, and they came back. So they ordered evacuation for Farnham that Thursday. As Thursday started about 4, and by 7 o'clock, they were ordering the evacuation of Farnham, and I actually texted Jake that day because I saw on Facebook they were evacuating Jeffrey Lake, which was kind of in your guys' territory. And I'd sent a message, asked, are you in the path? And he sent back, he's like, yeah. Of what?
Yeah.
So I sent him screenshots of Facebook of the evacuation orders, and That's how Jake found
Yeah,
out.
I'm like, hey, I gotta go.
Something's going on.
But it's interesting because so you were talking about that, but that day it was really windy. I mean, like 50 plus mile an hour wind. Aaron and I had actually went to North Platte to do a few things up there, and on the way up and the way back, the wind was blowing so hard. There was so much dirt moving. Yeah. We ended up being in the office for quite a while after that, and so you couldn't get a good visual of where the smoke was or what it was doing. So when you were like, hey, are you all right? Are you in the path? And I'm like, is it storming?
Yeah.
Like kind of looked out the window. I'm like, what is happening? But you couldn't, it wasn't one of those days where you could see it for miles. Like you didn't know it. So
yeah. And so kind of buttoned some things up at home, but it was still out of the west. It was north of us. So it went in between essentially Jake and Aaron and me.
And it was moving east, right?
It was moving east. And so I went into town to see if they needed any help with evacuation. And then all of a sudden the wind shifted from the north. So now you've got a 40-mile fire front that just shifted direction. So now it's moving south 40 miles wide, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time, that's like, I better get back home, and got the cows locked in the dirt lot, and we were just kind of sitting and waiting, and it was roaring just as fast from the north. They were kind of worried about Farnham, and I saw it pop over the hill that looked like, is within a mile of home, and that's what we decided to take the kids and move them down to Dad's, and I came back up with a disc, and that's about where they got to stop. They got to stop at a county line about a mile from home, and what I remember is the smoke was so thick. When the sun set, it was pitch black. There was no light anywhere. You couldn't see anything except the orange glow.
Thursday night. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's going to be kind of a theme of the whole fire is the wind switching direction. So when it broke out, it pushed it, 40, 50 miles in that first evening, really, east to or west to east. And then it'd switch it'd come out of the north, then it'd come out of the south. It just kept pushing it out wider and wider. So that Thursday night, Aaron and I, it actually, what's crazy is we have figured it out before. We're 15-ish, 20 miles apart, north to south.
Yeah,
Jared.
the way the crow flies. Yep.
So our places are about that far apart. When he was stopping it a mile north of his house, it was burning in our pasture as well.
Wow.
At the same time. So
Aaron, you're from this area. You know this area. But a lot of people maybe that are listening are thinking, well, Nebraska's flat. How can this be a problem to fight a fire? But this area, and Jared alluded to this, this is a tough area to fight a fire. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, to quote Tanner, indeed it is not.
Yes.
We've got cliffs. We have beautiful sloping hills that then you get to the end of it, and it is a 10 to 15 foot cliff that you cannot get off.
Right.
And so that made it really dangerous just to get out there and fight for it.
And there's very few straight roads.
Oh, yeah.
And so just a difficult place. And the biggest culprit or the biggest, I suppose, enemy of all of this was those darn red cedars that everybody was trying to get rid of, but you just couldn't. They grow so well. And if anybody's ever seen a cedar explode, it's
amazing.
It's something.
And the embers just go.
Oh yeah, and so it's crazy. If you're not from here, you probably don't quite understand. In the South Hills, there's roads in the canyons, and so
the canyons.
They follow.
There's no section roads.
Yes, there is no section road, none of that, and so Brady Moorfield, when it jumped that road. Then it's through our pastures. So then the next road is Jeffrey.
You missed Snail, though. It started at Cottonwood in between.
Yeah.
Went Snail.
So these are all north-south canyon roads that there are very few east-west connecting roads, if any, and they're about 10 miles apart. So you got a north-south road through a canyon bottom, 10 miles, another north-south canyon road, 10 miles of nuts.
Yeah.
So that's the difficulty.
Because it jumped Snell and then...
Jeffrey and Leidick, Callahan.
Yeah. Jump Brady Moorfield
Gilman.
in there. Gilman.
Yep.
Wiggins.
So
47.
It's 47.
And then 47 and then just,
So it's jumping all these. And like Jared said, there is miles between these. And so it is hard to get to where the fire is without taking a long drive there's a good friend of ours. He was fighting fire, him and some other buddies with a grass rig in their pickup. I think he said he put on, 400 miles?
450.
450 miles, and he never went more than probably 35 to 40 miles from home.
Yeah, not even.
I don't even know if he was that far. So it's just a lot of traveling to try to get to where the fire is. But
And if you're not familiar with the area, like mutual aid people,
nobody.
You can't explain it well enough for them to get to it. So it kind of turned into as fast as moving, and the terrain it was, basically the interior, they just kind of had to let go. And they had to just go fight it on gentler terrain and protect towns. It was just protecting houses was the main thing.
Yeah.
It's just find the house in the path, protect it.
Yeah, that's kind of
the next one.
Kind of one of those local farmers, ranchers, fire departments, neighbors, whomever. I mean, they would surround a house that was in jeopardy and fight for it, or whatever. You had to let it get into the valley and then try to fight it there, or into a canyon, not in the actual valley, I guess, but let it get down in a canyon where it was flat, try to fight it there. If you missed it there, you just went to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just a lot of that going on. But
They said the firefighters oftentimes would get to a place where they would kind of set up where they were going to go, and the fire would just jump over them.
Yeah.
Just go over them in the canyon. And it
Mhm.
was this. So this is to the south side of the Platte River Valley. And so again, many of you are familiar with the Platte River, and again, flat water, that's what it is. And, an inch deep and a mile wide. But if you go very far, you're getting into some really craggy hills and canyons, and it's just amazing. So Thursday night, you guys get told, hey, there's something going on. We need to go check this out. What do you come across then?
Well, yeah, so about as soon as Jared said that, then pretty soon got a text from somebody else, and then Aaron's phone and my phone it's blowing up. People are calling and texting like, we got to go. And so booked it out of town. The wind was blowing so hard. We were 5 miles from the fire before we could even really tell where it was
Really?
at. We sort of knew where it was because people had sort of told us, but you couldn't see it.
But not really. Our cows were at the Jeffrey Lake corner, and that's where we thought we needed to go, because they kept saying the lake.
Right.
But it wasn't the lake. It was quite a bit farther. And we were 4 miles from home before we knew where it even was.
Yeah, because, the fire would have been 5 to 10 miles south of the lake at that point, 5 miles. Well, 5 miles away from it, maybe not south.
From Lake Corner, maybe.
Yeah, where the cows were,
Yes.
And so, but yeah, we thought we were going home to move cows, and then we went, oh, they're not really in immediate danger at all. So we ended up going down to our pasture, and actually we spent that first night, most of it, so we've got some friends that live in the hills right on the corner of our pasture there. And we spent most of the night just sitting up on a hill in our own pasture, just watching it burn, because there wasn't anything you could do. And it was mostly just, hey, if you need to get ready,
Yeah.
Which they were ready, but we'll stay here as long as we can. We'll try to scout or whatever. But there really wasn't much to do that first night. We just sat there and watched fire burn. And you're talking about cedar trees exploding. When you see a canyon, a pocket full of cedar trees go up, and there's 50-foot flames over the tops of the trees. It's unreal.
Wow.
It is unreal.
In so many canyons. And there was a fire, 20 years ago, Aaron, or something like that?
Yep, about 24.
24 years ago. And it obviously cleared some of the canyons out, but the canyons had started to get choked with those red cedars again.
Yep.
And it was just, they're just bad. They're bad for fires.
Yeah, and they grow remarkably well.
They
and
do a good job.
So like Aaron's family, they have basically been in a constant state of cutting trees for 30 years. It's not like we're sitting around not doing anything.
Sure.
There's people that make their livelihood clearing trees in the South Hills and surrounding areas. There are prescribed burns that take place.
Right.
It's not for lack of management. No. There's been a lot of armchair range management specialists that are questioning some of the things that, if they would have done this or done that, hey, if you want to come help us take care of the trees, they just grow super well. And it's tough country.
And it's tough to get into them, to get to a place to knock them down. So it's just amazing to think about that 24 years ago. I think it was about 75,000 acres burned then. And, and that's kind of the course of nature sometimes. And, but so that's Thursday night. You're kind of keeping an eye. Were you told to evacuate, Jared, then?
They were kind of calling, but I was in town when they started calling people along the highway, and they were thinking it was getting ready to jump the highway, and that's when we went south. And the disc was down there at Dad's, so while we were down there, we hooked it to Derek's tractor, and I headed back up with it. And by the time they got there, that's kind of when it peaked out of the hills, and they were able to hammer it pretty hard.
Okay.
So humidity went up to like 40%, which helped slow it down. The winds were still howling, but they got better terrain, better road access, and there was, by that time we had a lot of mutual aid, and they really did a good job of hammering it and stopping it where it was. So
we're gonna talk more about that mutual aid, because that may be the word of the year, because it was huge.
I really thought you were gonna say we headed south with the disc down, and I thought, well, that's one way to do it.
Just really get ahead of it. So I did some recreational tillage at 4 a.m. to
there you go.
Kind of set up some fire breaks,
and not even your tractor. That makes it even better.
Yeah.
It was interesting for me. I was coming back from state basketball, because Gothenburg was playing in the state basketball tournament that day, and so my son and I were driving back, and we had been getting these evacuation notices, and I didn't really know what was going on. I've said red flag alert for the last 4 months, it feels like, and so you kind of get, you just don't think about it too much. And so I got back to Lexington, and we were starting to talk evacuation. So I went on the air and I talked to the emergency management guy, Brian Walt, and some of the things that were going on, evacuations, and that Brady School was open and stuff like this. And we had heard Camp Kamika was being evacuated, and I'm on the board there. So that piqued my interest. We got to Cozad, and that's when we started to see the red in the sky, because it was dark, and it looked like the sun was rising in the south.
Yeah,
and
it was glow.
It really was, and that glow continued all the way to Brady at least. And so you guys talk about a 40-mile fire. I mean, this thing was incredible to see. So, you get done with this. You get done with Thursday. You hope the humidity comes up, because we know it's not going to rain, but maybe there'll be some humidity. Maybe the winds will die down a little bit, and then we get to Friday.
Yeah, so we got up Friday morning, and I use that term loosely because we'd went to bed we got pretty good sleep that night, all things considered. I think we slept 4 hours that night, which that would be the most sleep at one time for a while. But anyway, so we got up. We naively thought, we're probably just going to go mop some stuff up. We're going to put out some hot spots. We're going to make sure it doesn't kind of push north, and should be good. And so, side-by-sides with sprayers in them, had all that stuff.
Not yet.
What's that?
They didn't have sprayers in them yet.
No, so we got up that morning. We outfitted all the sprayers into the side-by-sides quickly, Got one in each one. People kind of laugh at that at first, like, "Oh, what are you going to do with that weed sprayer?" But in all honesty, 20 to 50 gallon of water and a side-by-side, it does a fair amount of good. You're not knocking down a 30-foot flame with it, but that's not what we're trying to do with it anyway. So Erin's family was down, her sister and her husband, they were down. And so Erin and I and our boys and Paul and Shannon, and we decided to head out, went to the pasture, got started just kind of surveying what needs done. It was still kind of burning, but just hot spots.
Yep.
Yeah.
What we ran into, so under these cedar trees, there might be a foot of just needles and dry dead stuff and junk, and it doesn't really burn. It smolders in.
Right.
And so we were going around and we were trying to, find all those smoking hot spots, and we had shovels and rakes and all sorts of tools, and we'd try to drag them out and hose them off and do all that. Paul and Shannon had side by side, and we were doing all that. We just kept doing it. Well, like Jared said, the humidity did come up. The wind did go down. It really quieted that fire down. And so we just we're working on this. And I don't know what time it was, probably noon.
Yeah.
And the humidity went back down, and the wind came back up, and suddenly all those hot spots were just fire.
From the south this time now.
Yep.
From the south.
From the south, right.
So now that kind of gets everything wound up, and that was kind of the start of what was going to be like a really long few days. But I mean, we were still trying pretty hard to get stuff stopped at our north fence line of our pasture, and finally just couldn't.
Really?
So part of what was going on is there were so many fire lines at that point and so many places that were impacted that fire departments were spread pretty thin.
Sure.
And Owen and I, a couple neighbors, Jacob and Wiley, and we were trying pretty hard to keep one pocket from going up, because if it did, then it just followed that pocket into the neighbor's pasture. Owen and I went and tried to get another fire department. There was one on a hill a couple ridges over. When we say that, it's probably a mile from where we were.
Not quite, but
back to where they were. So, I mean, we make that trip across what had already burned, go over there, and they're like, we can't, man. We're watching this spot here.
Sure.
And so we book it back. By the time we got back there,
it was burning.
Yeah, we'd pretty much lost it. You were talking earlier about cinders going up. By the time we decided to get it out of there, I mean, there was a pocket then south of us that was burning. We were kind of watching it a little bit, and finally we just, it's time for us to leave. I mean, it is raining embers down. I mean, they're probably 30, 40 feet in the air and moving over and then just dropping. Well, that is what spreads this fire so bad.
Sure.
But anyway, they are raining these embers down, and we get back to the road and looking at Owen. He's got this hole burnt through his pants, kind of down by his shoe. I'm like, what happened to your pants? And he looks at me and he's like, probably the same thing that happened to your pants. And I had a spot burnt through the leg of my pant, like through the pocket. But I mean, it's just embers. And everybody's fine. But I mean, it's just,
that's just one of those things you don't see very often. I remember interviewing Mallory Barnes, and she was saying how she could feel the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you run into that too, Erin?
Oh, yeah. So Jake and I were sitting on a hillside, I don't know, were we quarter of a mile away probably that first night, Thursday night. And it was in a really, really thick part of our pasture and neighbors right on the fence line. And it was just, I mean, you could feel that heat. It was crazy how hot it was from so far away. And you really could.
I remember a fireman telling me once that you can get the fire out, but the yucca plants and the cow pies can be a real problem. And I remember driving on Saturday through the hills and looking out at a field, and it was like Yellowstone. There was like geysers all over, and it was the cow pies.
Yeah.
They continued to smolder, and that's why they put them in heating devices, back in the day, I guess.
Yeah.
So what did your Friday look like, Jim?
So it started off, and I could see the plume of smoke that was by Jake and Erin. And then there was one to the east. I think it was over by Midway Lake. So that's, how far apart would those be? 15 miles?
Yeah.
Probably.
So there's just two plumes, and you're thinking, you're feeling pretty good. You're like, wow, that's doing all right for what Thursday was. And as the morning went, here went a third plume, then a fourth, then a fifth, then a sixth.
Then it wasn't really plumes anymore.
It was back to the whole thing. So then I texted Jake and Erin and said, hey, how are things going? And it's just saying with the fire, I don't know. I'm like, well, you want some help? And I said, yeah, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea. So I did the same thing, put the sprayer on the 4-wheeler and headed up and camped out in their yard and helped them get ready. And that was probably the most frustrating part of the fire was playing defense. We're so in farming and ranching attuned to attacking things, attacking a job, getting it done, putting in the effort. And all we could sit there and do is wait for it to kind of get to terrain that we could handle it. And so it was kind of go out, see where it was, and come back. And, the winds kept shifting so many directions. So you'd watch it come up over a hill, and then the wind would funnel through a pocket and burn it back on itself. And you're thinking, okay, well, we're fine. But then it jumped to another part, and it just, the way the wind swirled it, fueled it back up. So I don't know. I think it's the sitting and waiting was the toughest part. And I could tell I was wearing on you guys. I wanted to go out there, but it's a 25-gallon sprayer to run a section of pasture.
So much.
It's just, I don't know. That was the most frustrating part, is not being able to take the fight to the fire on that day.
You talked about, when we talked on the radio, you talked about Friday, I think it was, that you were out doing some disking. Was that the night that you had the videos where you were disking, or they all run together?
That was Friday night.
That was Friday night. Yeah.
And you talked about how
that was Friday night.
The fires seemed to sort of dance, because it looked like, clearly, this is coming out of the south, this one's coming, and then it didn't happen. It was like they created their own sort of ecosystem where they went.
Yeah. And so, with that kind of in mind, probably noon or 1 o'clock, midday, sometime on Friday. So we're dealing with tons of fire departments. I mean, Owen asked me sometime after the fire, Dad, how many fire departments were there? And I said, I have no idea. But at that time, I could name 10 or 11 different names on trucks that I had saw. And so we're just dealing with all these folks. Side note here, if you don't have the app Onyx, you need to get it. It's a hunting app, but it's like an old school plat map, but it's digitalized, and it is so superior to anything else that's out there. And as long as you have it downloaded, you can use it offline, and the amount of stuff that it shows is unbelievable.
Really?
But anyway, with that in mind, we have fire departments that don't know their way around here. Erin grew up here. I mean, she spent her entire childhood riding horses through these hills. She's helped neighbors gather cattle out here forever. We've ranched on our own stuff. We're the 4th or 5th generation. She knows her way around. She actually ended up being a scout quite a bit for fire departments, at least Friday afternoon and a lot Saturday, because they would just say, we need to get to that ridge.
So she was the Cottonwood Sacagawea.
Kind of, yes. Yeah, there's gonna be a
nickname.
I like it.
I
think we're going.
There's gonna be a titanium dollar coming out.
Oh, nice.
To commemorate.
Nice. Yes, I like it.
And so anyway, so she's doing all this. I don't know if you want to tell that story, but I like that one
With Tanner?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was Friday morning. So like you said, we were on our back section. So we were 2 miles back off of Jeffrey Road.
Okay.
And
In the sticks.
In the sticks.
Well, there used to be sticks.
Yeah. So our neighbor, he's the fire chief at Brady. He called me and said, "Hey, I'm sending 4 fire trucks your way. You need to lead them in." I said, "Okay, well, let me hustle across 2 sections of the hills." And so Tanner was with me, bless his soul. He bounced along with me. So we got to the road and sitting there waiting. Of course, I mean, there's no communication really back there. The fire trucks have
on
radios.
a good day, there's no communication.
Yes. So we're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And I mean, you're just on edge already. And so White Barnes came around and I saw him. I was like, "Hey, you know this pasture just as well as I do. Allegedly, there's 4 fire trucks coming. When they get here, you take them." And so then Tanner and I we headed east into some of our other pasture. They call it the Gulch Canyon. And that valley leads to our house. And I was trying to think how many miles it is. 5 miles back up in there?
Yeah, I bet.
That is the end of the valley. And that you can literally walk out of that valley to our house without going up and down any hills. It's pretty cool. So we kind of started scouting that. And so in my mind, that was a line. It's a nice wide valley. You could stop something there. So started finding fire trucks, said, "Hey, we need to get over there." I said, "Okay, let's just go straight east." Well, you can't. Follow me. We'll go about 1.5 miles south and then up and in there. So I took 2 trucks and got them up in there. And then they said, "Okay, there's 2 more coming. Go to the road and get them for us." So I went up and over the road, and we were just Tanner and I were just sitting there waiting, and I kind of looked over at him. Poor kid. I mean, he's got, what are the mullein seeds? I don't know if you've ever drove a side-by-side through those. I mean, they just dust you, and they're just all over you. And he was hot and sweaty, so his face was just covered with these. I kind of looked over to him. I was like, "Tanner, are you okay? Or do I need to get you to Grandma's?" And he was so sweet. He said, "Mom, you do what you need to do." But yeah, I'd like to go to Grandma's. So
as soon as you get that
done, why don't you take me to Grandma's? So we led those last 2 trucks in, and then we kind of reconvened back at our pasture and kind of said, we got to get home, because at this point it's probably 3 miles from home.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It is heading towards our place.
And this is where we at? Friday?
We're Friday noonish, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, noon through mid-afternoon at that
that's
point.
when you said you had talked. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So we kind of felt we needed to get home because we had not quite half of the herd, but all of our heifers, all of our yearlings, they were all right against the hills. So if it came up over that hill, we needed to move them.
Mm-hmm.
So we went home. I was trying to think, did we move yearlings? They were already in front of the house.
Yeah. So side note on Tanner. So this was maybe a week after the fire, after it had calmed down. And I think we just went for a walk one evening, maybe is when it come up, just as a family to unwind a little bit. And so we're recounting all the events from the fire. And Tanner says, "You remember that day we were scouting for the fire trucks?" And Aaron said, "Yeah." And he said, "I said I was good. Indeed, I was not good. I was pretty sure we were going to die."
Yeah, really?
So
wow.
But it was funny. One of those times she was leading a group of fire trucks, she's explaining to to the boss on that crew where they're going to go and how they're going to get there. And she says, all right, follow me. And there was 2 fire trucks sitting there. And so she takes off. We've got one side by side, which it was interesting that you took that one all the time, but more power, more suspension, faster.
It's just like the semi-truck discussion we had earlier.
Yes, very much like that.
It really is. Okay,
yes. It's a pretty nice little combination between being ranchy and being a little sporty. And
Nice.
Anyway, so she takes off of that. First fire truck takes off. Other guy is sitting there looking at me. I'm like, buddy, if you don't pin your ears back, you're
You
going to
better
get
go.
left. Like,
yeah, you need to go.
what are you doing sitting here looking at me? But anyway, so I went home. You were still scouting quite a bit. I went home. So we sit right along the edge of that canyon. Our main place does. Had a bunch of hay stacked so the hay fields butt up to the canyon, and we had a lot of hay just stacked on the rim of the canyon because that makes the most sense. So ran home, moved all that hay. I think it was that day, or maybe it was the next day. I don't remember, but I was trying to decide what to do. One was an alfalfa field. And so what I ended up doing was I stacked all the hay on the outside perimeter of the outside pivot track, and then we kicked the pivot on. So the overhang of the pivot track was, pivot was walking over the top of the bale pile, just watering it. I decided that was probably the best way if embers decided they wanted to be blowing down. So we did a bunch of that, kind of got some of that ready, and then you got there, Aaron, and I don't remember, little replacement heifers, yearlings were already kind of out of the way, but we did move all the first calf heifers. We had a lot of times we'll let cane just grow at the end of the summer, go dormant, leave it standing, and then we'll graze that in the spring. Well, we had not grazed any of that yet, and that was the very next thing right after the hills, so that was also not going to be helpful. So we wanted to get everything as far away from that as we could. Shout out to Uncle Jimmy. I went and robbed his disc from him. Much like Jared's story, it was my tractor, but it was Uncle Jim's disc. But I dissed around his house, so I justified it that way.
Yep.
But he was in.
They were both gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were both out of, because I texted him and said, hey, everything okay there? And he said, I'm in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So.
Then he's texting me. He's like, hey, what's going down? I'm like, I borrowed your disc and I'm disking around your house. And he just sent back a thumbs up. So, but yeah, so then we spent the rest of that afternoon just kind of trying to be ready for it. We did a bunch of disking at our house, did a bunch of disking around Uncle Jimmy's, and then later that middle of the night we'd be over by Mike's. But at that point, it was the most aggravating, slowest paced panic moment ever. Because like you said before, this fire that first day it flew. I mean, it covered miles.
It was going 5 miles an hour is what I heard originally. So that's hauling.
Yeah. And then it would it would race into a headwind, which made no sense. There's other times there's wind pushing it and it's almost not moving. That was like Jared said, the most frustrating thing was you couldn't just like, oh, here it comes. And 15 minutes later you're fighting it. We just waited and waited.
So we get towards Friday night, and a lot of them have popped up again. We can see from Highway 30, the hills just on fire, everything burning again.
Kind of apocalyptic looking, probably.
Really, it was really different. Driving back from Lexington on Highway 30, it was just gray. It was just gray the whole way, and it just looked really different. And at this time, and you've alluded to some of this, we've started to see fire companies from all over. I think at one point, somebody in Brady told me there was about 60 different ones.
Wow.
And I know I saw Central City and Pleasanton and, Lincoln and Omaha groups were here. We had a guy we talked to on the air from Neely that flew his plane down. He was a crop duster plane, and they'd filled it with water and they'd come down. Wow. The outpouring was just amazing, but the story just didn't want to end, did it? The fires just kept coming. So take us through maybe what you were doing Friday night. You still these guys?
No, they sent me home. Had enough of me, so
you can take just so much, right?
Yeah, okay. I mean, you can only handle so much aggravation in one day.
Actually, if I remember
you can't do a fire and Jared. You should do one or the other.
If I remember right, I think it was more like, if your fire's not going to get here, I'm going to go home and do some other stuff.
Short story in there, but I was in the early stages of calving, so we got to about 6:00, and I was just like, "Hey, you mind if I run home, go check cattle? I'll be right back." So I took the canyons back because they kind of I don't know if Highway 47 was closed or not, but that was kind of the main live stream of, I just didn't want to be in their way anyway if it was closed. So I took some back roads. And that was kind of eerie. You'd get to a spot where there'd be a fire burning across the pasture, and there's just not a soul around. I mean, that's how widespread it is. You just had to let it go. There's just open flames by this fire. And at the same time, the electric company from Cambridge, Twin Valley, was up there replacing poles that had burned down Thursday night. Not their district. Fires, just a few hundred yards from them, and they're just plugging away, restoring power. That was pretty neat to see.
Yeah.
See Twin Valley up there kind of. I mean, it wasn't big flames. It was mostly back burning grass. So it wasn't like they were in a huge threat. But, went down, checked. And thankfully, the cows kind of took a break during the fire. I think only had one calf the whole month,
really?
Which was a huge blessing. So checked them, came back, and time I get back, it was just frustration of, is this coming or is it not?
Right.
I just assume it was on our doorstep and we could fight it, or I just assume it went away.
Did Farnham, was it kind of out of the track of the fire after Thursday, or did it come back in again? Okay.
No, it didn't get that close to the town because most of it was black. When the wind shifted, it burned back on itself, and it wasn't, the town itself was not under any more threat after that. We just had enough black. It burned so hot, it basically just put a black layer around Farnham. So it's kind of worked as a shield from that point. So when the winds went south, we just told Jake, tag, you're it. You fight the fire for a couple days, and we'll receive on Sunday.
There you go. It was interesting. I drove, I think it was Saturday. Well, it was Saturday evening. I decided I would be one of the looky-loos, but I figured I had a press badge somewhere I could, hold up, I guess.
Press credentials.
So I drove up Gilman Road, and I don't even know whose place it is, but it's right along the road as you're going up the canyons, and there was a burnout tractor right there.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that is a signature of what this all looked like. And as I was getting closer to Potter's pasture there, I saw then the hills started flaming up again. And by the time I had gotten to Jeffrey Lake around the lodge, looking to the south, everything was exploding again.
Yeah.
It just didn't want to end.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy. So that was, let's see. So that was Friday evening at some point, and it was already dark by then, but Erin called me and she's like, you need to get the tractor and disc over here to Mike's, we call it Mike's mailbox. So if you're not familiar with being out in the sticks, sometimes the mail doesn't go all the way to your house. So there's a spot where maybe there's a couple mailboxes and they stop and leave the mail. So
gotcha.
Anyway, that was up north of our neighbor Mike's place. But she's like, you better get over here at the tractor and disc. Like, it's coming over the hill. And there was a bale pile that we were wanting to protect. And then there was a spot that had actually burned a week before, like a controlled burn, prescribed burn. So that was kind of okay north of it, but to the northeast of it, it was not. There was big, tall grass. If it got into there, whether it was through the road ditch or whether it just jumped at an angle, but then it was up over that, and then it was truly into the valley, so cornfields, but a lot more houses impacted at that point. So she's like, you need to get over here. So went wheeling over there and like, oh yeah, it's really coming. And so started disking and got disked around the bale pile pretty well. Got a whole flock of neighbors over there and we're ready to go.
But the same thing, like you could feel that heat. It was rolling down that hill, and I don't think that's even an eighth of a mile.
No.
To the hill, to the bale pile.
Yep.
And it was just rolling, and it was hot.
Yep. And it was here it comes. Got it all disked, got ready to make a stand, and that's when the humidity started changing. But the wind never really went down.
Nope.
But then the fire slowed almost to a crawl. We thought it was going to be on top of us in 20 minutes, maybe. It was 3 or 4 hours.
It was a long time.
So it's interesting. Over the course of all this, Grandma Lori was fantastic. There were so many people that were fantastic, but Grandma Lori just kind of stepped up and she was taking care of the kids and stuff. Mostly Tanner, because we about had to like force Owen to leave.
I'm sure you did.
So he was in the tractor with me that night when we were disking. He was actually the one taking the video.
Okay.
He wanted to be there and be part of it. I mean, he wanted to wanted to do his
Good
part
for
or
him.
whatever too. But anyway, we got that done. Okay, then we did send him off, and
How did he get home that night?
I don't really remember.
I was just thinking that.
It's so
he
many
was with
things
us,
going
but-
on. Yeah, you don't even remember. I suppose.
I think one of us ran him home once we realized it was going to be a while. I think one of us ran him back to the house, and then Grandma took him in town that night, or whatever the case was. But
you talk about like how widespread the fire departments were. So we were trying to protect a bale pile, but we didn't have any fire rigs. We had
Sure.
tanks and then side by sides.
Yep.
And one of our good neighbors, they went by with a fire rig.
Yep.
And we're like, "You guys good?" We're like, "No, we're not.
No.
we need you for just
As
a
a
little
matter
bit."
of fact.
Yeah.
And they were beat. They had been
Yeah.
fighting hard for a long time, and they said, "Okay, we'll help you, but we're gonna go take a nap."
mhm.
And this was when it was still pretty hot, and we're like, "All right, you go take your 15-minute nap."
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I think it was 2 hours
Mhm.
before it finally got close enough to the bale pile that I thought, okay, we better go wake them up so that we can put it out and make this line.
And the other thing is, real quick, there was a big chunk of unburnt pasture. I mean, everything east of there was unburnt at this point.
Yep.
The wind
Oh.
had been pushing it to the north, but as wind kind of switches and does weird things overnight, we were still worried about the bale pile. We were still worried about it going north, but it was starting to kind of swing to the east.
Mhm.
Well, then that's 2 sets of neighbors' houses, then a third neighbor's house, and then our house is all directly east of
Okay.
that, probably a mile, everything from a mile to a mile and a half. So we kind of wanted them there too in case it decided to turn the corner, which it was starting to do. But
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, we let them sleep for a little bit and like, okay, it's here. So went and started. I mean, these guys have been working hard.
Sure.
They are out cold. So start just real quiet, like tapping on the window, like nothing. So banged a little bit harder. And then finally, just banging on the glass. Nothing.
I said, "Woman, why didn't you just yank open that door and yell fire and see what happened?"
Because I was afraid of what would happen.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So I went around to the other side to the guy that was in the passenger seat, did the same thing. And it was finally when I started pounding on the window that he finally just opened his eyes. And you can see him moving his eyes back and forth. And then pretty soon he sits up and kind of looks left and right. And then it all finally came together. And oh, yeah, we're fighting fires.
We're here to fight fires.
But by that point, it's right on top of the bale pile. Like, okay, you guys, you got to go.
Yeah.
and
Wow.
and they did. They did a great job.
Oh, they did.
They just attacked it and got us our line put out and
So
a piece they're out.
yeah, so myself and Wiley, we had a nurse trailer, and so he was pulling it with his pickup, and I was running the hose. We were kind of soaking
Okay.
around there, and then these other guys. So if you're familiar, call them grass rigs or fire skid or whatever. Had it in the back of the pickup. I mean, it's like what you see for fire departments having grass rigs, but out here, a lot of the farmers and ranchers have them, and so yeah, they had that, and man, they were, for one, they have been to a fire.
Yes.
These
they've seen
boys,
this before.
they
Yeah.
understand what to do. You want to talk about heart and determination, and this just kind of embodies the whole experience, right? But these guys, they were down, wasn't by their house, wasn't by their pasture, wasn't affecting them. They're fighting fire. They were beyond us at that point even. 1-ton dually Ford pickup, flatbed, fire skid, one guy spotting. Because the thing is, if you have not been here, you don't completely understand it. It takes 2 people to drive sometimes when you're in these hills. Like one guy to watch where you're actually going and one
Right.
guy watching where you need to go.
Because you talked about those cliffs. Yeah.
And so one guy's driving and one guy is spotting for him, got another guy strapped to the back with the hose on top of this skid. And I mean, they're getting it. Run over something, blow a front tire on this dually pickup. And the one guy goes, "We got 4 on the back yet," because they'd taken the spare out so they could put the fire skid in. Jacked up the back, pulled the outside dual off of one of the back,
No kidding.
one side, put it on the front, not so they could get home, so they could get back in the fight.
Wow.
I mean, they fought fire that way the rest of that day. They were fighting that way when they showed up to us. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's for real. I mean, we ain't just a bunch of hillbillies out here slapping wet burlap sacks around, although that is a good way to stop fire. But
Yeah.
but I mean, there was just there. But that was everybody over the course of this
Yes.
entire event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was going to say the firemen truly they put in the most hours and the most effort day in and day out. But in some way, shape, or form, everyone was a firefighter through
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I mean, even people back at the station, I had a lot of wives of volunteer fire just collecting, making meals, keeping things going. I mean, everybody dropped what they were doing. Everybody was a part of the fight.
Yep.
The outpouring at Brady, I thought, was really amazing. And the superintendent, I talked to her, and the efforts that they did of first opening the school and then the community center, and just people just wanting to be involved and help. It was just incredible. And the lineup on the street there next to the hitching post and stuff of all the fire trucks getting ready to go.
Yep.
It's like, when do you need me? Here we go. Let's go. And it was just, and that continued for a week that they were still,
and
it was
that
still
level
there.
of support to consider there's a 500,000 acre fire going
In Morrill.
2 hours north of you. Like, I mean, it's one thing if it was one fire to get that much support, but the state had to split and help them too, and we were still that much support and things going on. It was pretty incredible.
It was pretty humbling.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, you sometimes think that you're alone on some of this stuff, and that we become isolated where we are, and then things like this happen. And so we kind of get through some of this. And one of the things that you talked about when we've talked before, Jake, is that you had the adrenaline, you kind of get the fire, you get done with all of that, and then it's like, oh man, now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like that Friday, I think we got home somewhere between 4 and 5. I think we slept, in quotations, till 6 or 7, got up Saturday. Saturday was our big day. Well, Friday was a big day too, but Saturday was big. And I think because you came back Saturday.
No, you guys never asked me back. I took.
Really? I thought you were back Saturday.
No, I heard through the grapevine that you were moving cows. I'm like, oh, I wish they would have called because, yeah, I mean,
okay. You
I
asked
hardly-
why he looked upset earlier when he came here.
Yeah.
This might be it. We may be getting into something here.
We might. Well, don't take it personal. It was a long couple days. And, but so Saturday showed up, and that is when we ended up, like, it was focusing on our place that day because that's what we were going to need to do.
But it was also coming to the lake, and that's where the cows were.
Yes.
So we kept having to bounce back and
Oh,
forth,
my
which
goodness.
they're 4 miles apart.
Yeah, probably.
So, I mean, you'd run over there like, okay, the cows are still safe. Let's go back home. Yep, everything's still safe. So we kept having to bounce back and forth. And that was why we decided to move the cows, was because it was coming up and over the lake at that time.
Yep,
too.
yep. And we had a bunch of friends, bunch of family, bunch of folks. And so Aaron...
That's nice.
Except for Jared.
Except for Jared. You seriously weren't there Saturday?
No, I
He was
wasn't.
probably home napping.
I don't know. Like you said, it was like one big long day. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
knew Saturday was coming. I'm like, I don't remember Saturday very well.
Just maybe he had Tanner. Maybe he was the one who maybe
he might have. Yeah. Well, like I said,
I guess it was Owen.
Oh,
Yes,
it's-
it's Owen.
oh.
don't take it personal. By then we weren't sure, what was going on, but we had all of our friends except for Jared helping us, but Paul and Shannon, Aaron, I don't remember who all else was helping you, Aaron, because I was doing some other stuff.
I think Owen and then Paige ended up showing up to
Oh, yeah.
help walk the cows across. But, I mean, there was quite a few spectators
Yeah.
everywhere. And
Scott
so,
I kept moving. I didn't stop.
so moving cows across sections of ground is harder than down the road because they'll tend to walk faster down the road. But we just couldn't walk down the roads because
Because
there's
too many cars.
Yes.
And even not necessarily spectators, just
Fire
fire
trucks,
yeah.
tankers, you name it. And everybody had a place to be.
Mhm.
So then we had to cross the Tri-County Bridge. And so we had
Oh,
cut
wow.
across country, well, that'd be 2 miles, I think. And then we came up to the Tri-County Bridge, and we had two people. One was on one intersection, one was on the other one. And we pretty much said, like, I don't care if you have to run them in the road ditch, but do not let them come up on top of us. Because typically when we cross those bridges, we put up some panels, we run hay down the middle.
Yeah.
We kind of do a lot of prep.
It's a little bit of a big deal to move cows across the bridge.
It is.
Yeah.
And so we were literally going to be coming on this one and have to take a right or left turn, I guess.
Yeah, hard left.
Because we followed the bank all the way to the bridge, and then we had to take a hard left
Okay.
across the bridge.
Okay.
And Owen's got
The whole thing should have never worked.
Oh, nothing about
Really?
it should have worked.
No, and then had God not been helping us, it never would have.
No.
and,
Right.
I mean that
Yeah.
sincerely.
For sure.
So Owen's got this sweetheart of a longhorn cow, and she earned her place on the ranch for life. So as we're going across all these sections, basically I was just I was just hand feeding her cake the whole way.
Oh,
She
really?
loves this cake. It's distillers. She loves it. So, but by the time we got there, she's kind of tired because she'd been trotting along and trying to keep up. And so as we get really close to the bridge, man, I'm really feeding her. Oh yeah, she remembered it. So she starts coming up there, and so then I just kind of keep having her follow me across the bridge. And she turned, and my sister has a picture, and it is the entire herd making the left turn on the bridge. Half of them are on, half of them off. It is the coolest picture, and they didn't miss stride. I mean, they just they all turned the corner and all walked across the bridge, and it was like it was no thing, and it was so cool to see. But,
yeah, it was neat. So
because they evacuated Jeffrey Lake again on Saturday, right? It was Saturday evening, I believe.
Yep.
So that's probably about close to that time.
And that's what I've been getting a bad time about this since then. But we have since nicknamed it Owens Hill. We have this hill just west of our corrals there at our home place. It's you can see for miles when you get up there. And I was sitting up on top of that with the side by side, just watching.
Yeah.
And I'm texting them like, hey, are you guys about there? And Aaron's like, yeah, we got a mile to go. Okay. And wait a while. I'm like, man, that fire's coming. I was like, are you guys about done? And she's like, yeah, we're getting close. Like we're quarter mile, I'm waiting. I'm like, I need you guys here now. Like it is coming. Cause there was some about a ridge away at that point. I was like, I need you guys here now. Like we're tightening the wire and we'll be there. That was one of those goofy times, and it kind of slowed down again, and like everybody comes boiling in there, and they're like, "All right," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but you can see how close it is." So, but anyway, but that Saturday, there was a lot of people ended up on the hayfield in front of our yard, just hanging. I mean, that's where they were staging, just a bunch of people, and some ladies from church made lunch. Grandma Lori was part of that, just feeding people out of our garage. It was,
wow.
It's been a really cool experience. You wish it happened under a different set of circumstances. But anyway, so we were doing a bunch of work, cutting fire lines, we call it the gulch. It's that canyon. Aaron was talking about getting that ready, because if it comes up there, it's right to our house and our neighbor's house.
Yeah, that's funneling right to your place.
You can't fight it in there. Yeah. So we were getting a bunch of fire lines ready and just waiting for it to come. Thankfully, we kind of got it stopped in the pasture south of that, but we did a bunch more disking and just kind of getting everything ready. But then that night, and it was after dark again, it kind of quit coming north, and it turned and started heading east again. But
it was pretty quiet though, because Paul and Shannon left at like 9, 10 o'clock. We're like, oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
It was quiet.
Right.
We were heading up to Mike Gruber's because your brother had got there by then.
Yep.
And so we were heading up to go check on Mike Gruber's house and Kelly and Wyatt's. We just kind of had that path that you just check all the places to make sure they're okay. And we were about halfway to Mike's, and all of a sudden the pickup just does that sway thing. We're like, geez, because it was burning at the lake, which was ahead of us. We're like, man, it must just really have a big draft coming into it.
Yeah.
And we weren't even in the Ford, so we knew it must have been the wind.
So we get a little bit closer, and then it really hit us, and that wind was coming from the north, and it was super
northwest.
Yep.
Oh, geez.
But we come around the corner to see Mike Gruber's house, and it was coming down off the ridge, just
behind his house.
I mean, hard into the wind down on top of his house. So we went, we better get home, because when we left the gulch, it was black. It was fine.
We actually weren't sure though. How Mike has a house is unbelievable.
It is.
Because we were sitting there, like we watched that for just a minute, and the fire department was bugging out. Like,
oh really?
I mean, it was
everybody had kind of given up.
Well, it was that bad. Like it was bad.
But we'd head back to go watch our black lines that they did that we didn't love, but they did a 20-foot black line around our gulch, and then Everett's place and a couple other places. I can't remember what they told me, but it was something to the effect of it took a 30-foot flame to jump a 20-foot piece of ground.
Black line
with so much wind. And
was that when you said apparently our fire didn't get that memo?
I think that's when I informed the firefighter that I don't think our fire got that memo, because at that point it already jumped, 6 roads? Is that what we came up with?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me right now?
Wow.
So we weren't real impressed, because we wanted to send the fire south and just be done is what we really wanted. And then, like I said, we came back home that night, and Paul and Shannon were already home by that point, which is half our way, and we were in our side by sides and just trying like heck with our little sprayers to put out all these hot spots. And I finally called Shannon and said, you guys got to come back. It's come to life, because we were then where we were fighting it. It was blowing out of, like I said, the northwest into 6 foot tall
unburnt grass.
There was still a lot of fuel out there Saturday. I was surprised by that. So you're talking Saturday night.
Yep, this is late Saturday night, and it's blowing. It's in the gulch still. So, I mean, it's going away from us. We finally found one fire rig that came over and helped us kind of put that part out. Well, then we could kind of see that fire was taking off. It was heading east again. And
there was 2 houses pretty immediate, and then there would be more on down the line.
So I had a fire rig that I was trying to get into the gulch with me, and that was a really humbling one for me, because, I shouldn't say humbling, just it was that dilemma, right? So we knew that fire was heading towards these 2 houses, but it was also still coming north. We literally just watched it come north on top of Mike's place. So it was still going to come to our house or to these other 2 houses, which I always felt our house was pretty safe. We had a pretty good buffer, really.
Right.
I was never worried about our place.
We split all the guns up. You put a couple guns in every pickup.
Yep.
So the boys were instructed to pack a bag.
Yeah.
Tanner packed a bag. Owen didn't worry about it. He was mad that Mom didn't put the ammo though in with the guns, because Mom. Anyway, we were never terribly worried about our actual house, though.
Really? Okay.
No, I wasn't. But that was so I was talking to this grass rig, and I just said, what do we do? If it comes my way, it burns my feed. If it goes this way, it burns houses. Like, we have to protect the houses, right? And he said, yeah, that's what we need to protect. So I started running intel. We had radios, little 2-way radios between all of our family, and that we'd been talking the whole time. And so I took off trying to find, like, where is this fire? Because you could see the glow of it. We just didn't know where it was.
Interesting. Okay.
And so kind of got there, figured out where it was, and started calling all of our grass rigs that we knew of. And we finally ended up, I think, what do we have, like 3 people there fighting with fire rigs, just personal grass rigs.
Yep.
And then we finally got Gothenburg there and got it put out. I mean, really, it was pretty quick, but before that, there was nobody.
Wow.
I mean, it was kind of a ghost town at that point. And
I think it really did save them a couple of houses.
I think so too.
So,
yeah.
The logistics of all of this is just incredible when you think about, just where do we go? How do we get there? It boggles my mind, the work that they had to go through, and that all you guys.
And to be honest with you, if you have never beat a fire to death in your neighbor's windbreak with a street sign that was in the back of your pickup, you ain't no firefighter.
Do we have a picture of that somewhere? Is there a video that we could?
I don't think there is, but that
was it a stop sign? Because that would be really good. Oh, okay.
No, so it was we ran across it was an old street sign at an antique shop. And it was kind of cool, so we had latched onto that. It was still in the back of the pickup. We were actually just taking food to one of the fire teams.
We're taking pizza around. We thought we were good.
Yeah,
same thing.
They were watching Mike's house. We thought it was all good, and so we were just hauling some pizza. We learned. I don't even remember what day of the fire that was. It was early on.
I think that was Friday.
But that's when we went, okay, so don't ever have a pickup without fire tools in it, because we didn't. And I mean, we're literally, it's working into Mike's windbreak all of a sudden. I mean, we're beating it with coats. Have a spade. So spading, Erin grabs this street sign, and she is just beating this fire.
Wailing away on the fire.
And so we get this all put out, and everybody ended up with nicknames in this deal, because you don't know everybody's name, right?
Oh, sure.
I can't, where was Big Chief from? Which department?
Elm Creek.
Yeah, he was from Elm Creek. We had worked with him. We had sort of been working with him most of Friday at that point, I guess. And anyway, we seen him driving by, and we come running up out of the road ditch, and Aaron's like, "Hey!" Holler at him. He slams on the brakes, and we just needed his attention to talk to him about a little bit, but
to give him pizza.
Pizza.
But we were talking to him then Saturday. Sometimes like, man, I thought your wife was coming out of that road ditch to beat me with that street sign. So that was kind of fun.
That would be another hilarious moment from all of this to see Aaron running with the street sign.
Right. And then, after that, though, most of Sunday we spent so Sunday was wind strong out of the north.
Tag. I'm it.
Yeah, Jared's it. I don't know what Jared has going on his side for sure. We spent most of our Sunday, it was blowing corn shucks across the road, anything that was a tree stump, that was a cow pie, that was a burned off fence post that was smoking, well, it was burning,
corn husks. So they became shrapnel.
Right. And then they wanted to go into unburnt grass. And so we spent most of our Sunday just making sure that one neighbor's house specifically, making sure that it did. I mean, we walked road ditch and hosed water, and that was kind of our whole Sunday. I don't know.
I was gonna say, did it flare up over there? Or
Yeah,
not?
yeah. So,
which you didn't call us, so we wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know. They were. Well, he was still upset, so he was still angry.
Yeah.
And
I'll let the place burn down before I call them.
There's a fire. I've lost friends.
So all I remember about Saturday, I know I didn't sleep, but I just remember texting. I could see the plumes, so I'm texting people east, west, north.
Sure.
Just like, hey, do you need? Or I must have had everybody just the right time, because everyone was like, no, we're fine. Because I think I texted you guys. You're like, no, I think we're okay. And then I hear this story, and that's kind of the first I heard of. And I'm like, oh, I should have been there. So I don't remember much about Saturday except in the afternoon, knowing Sunday was going to be windy out of the north. So I was like, I'm going to go north of the place. I'm going to find any hot spot I can in the pasture, and I'm going to try to put it out. And I really didn't find much of anything. I think I found one.
And Sunday was super cold, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first day that it got
Yep.
super cold, but still so windy.
Because I think it was in the 70s when the things kicked off.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, Sunday, woke up, decided we were going to go put a disc of fire break on the north side of one of our fields. So if it jumped the highway, it would hit that field. Conveniently, that pivot, the steers I had out there rubbed a tower wire loose. It was dead in the water. All I could do is just spray water in one spot. So I'm like, okay, I need to lay a fire break down. So I started on that, and a couple neighbors showed up, and they just hopped in and unfolded their discs. And I'm like, all right, we're going to have a little discing party
we
here.
just dissed the whole field.
Well, I didn't want to go that carried away.
Now we're feeding hay to the steers.
So I knew there was a pocket burning, but isn't one of those areas. There's no cell phone service. I knew I couldn't get any information out of there. So all I knew what to do is get myself ready and be prepared. And then I got a call from someone on the local fire department saying, hey, would you mind coming over here? Fire just broke out by Highgain, which is a feedlot around Farnham. And it was kind of the running joke that everything started at Highgain. It's like any flare up, it was north side of Highgain, east side. It was just always started there.
Sounded like, yeah.
So, yeah, headed off there as fast as 20 mile an hour could take me. And a lot of time to think about how you're going to game plan when you get over there. A lot of fire departments had broken out into a cornfield next to a pasture. And same thing, like visibility is terrible, blowing dust, smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I get to the west side, and boy, there's like 20 fire trucks. They're really hammering it on that side. And so I just punch through the smoke and go to the east side. There's maybe 4 on that side. This is like a matter of 200 yards. So I'm like, okay, this is where I'm needed. And I unfold. I start making, I can see it's creeping out in the pasture. And I'm like, oh, hey, Scott and Derek, my brothers are out there with their fire skid spraying. And so I'm making a fire break there. They could do a pretty decent job. And then I'm like, okay, I need to get ahead of this fire. I don't know where the other discs are at, because if it gets across Highway 23, road access is a lot worse. We're going to be in major trouble. So I start heading south. I think it was a Gothenburg Fire Department guy flagged me down, wanted me to put another fire break in this field that was cane stubble around the guy's house. So I said, yeah, I can do that. Did that, was getting ready to leave, and Scott and Derek call and say, hey, can you come to the north side? We are losing ground up here, which was odd because that's a back burn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think everybody was so focused on, rightfully so, heading off to the south that there wasn't really anybody left to the north, and it was still moving north against the wind. So went up there, started disking in the field, and it's amazing how hard it is, how dry it is.
Oh, geez, I bet.
You could basically only till an inch or two at a time. So to bury any sort of residue takes 2-3 passes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was doing. I was just going back and forth in the field, burying smoldering.
Because the first time you just fluff it up so it burns better.
Yeah, that's exactly
So
it.
first you go the
Because
opposite.
we ran into some of that
Yeah.
too. You pull it and like, that looks even worse.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't going to work at all.
You just loosened up corn stalks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went up there and helped them guys, and I don't know who it was in the tractor, but all they had up there for field equipment was a box scraper, and he was just trying to drag, and you could tell he's like, oh, thank goodness.
This is not going to work.
We got it stopped to the north, and actually hit some CRP ground, so I headed that off and got it put under with the disc, and between all of us, we got it put under. But the next thing was that box scraper left piles of corn stalks that were smoldering.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you hit them 12 times, and there you could still. Eventually, me and another guy at the disc got it all supplanted. And what I say about the fire that day, it was really polite because it took turns, because about the time we got that out, it flared up out west again. And that's no area for a disc, and I don't have a fire skid. And Scott and Eric were running dads, so I just told them, like, hey, dispatch me if I'm needed. But I know that's really all I'm going to do is get in the way out there. And I think by the time Sunday was over, that was basically the end of it gaining ground.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know what they called the containment at the end of Sunday, but
I think it was at 43%, if I remember right, when we came in Monday.
Okay. So I don't know how they evaluate that, but for all intents and purposes, the fronts had stopped moving.
Yeah. I think containment is a certain amount of distance. There can be no hot spots within a certain amount of distance from unburnt ground.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah,
I think by Monday morning, we were pretty well done giving up ground.
Yep.
and the Rocky Mountain Complex people came in, I think, Sunday, maybe somewhere along the way, and they started kind of leading it all up, and that's when we started to get some more news that way. And so just so many stories that come out of this, but we started to talk about this a little bit earlier, but in some ways you felt like you were doing something. You were out there, you were leading trucks, you were putting out fires and disking, whatever. And then the fire goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a whole different feeling, isn't it? So talk a little bit, Aaron, start with you. Talk a little bit about that. What's that feeling? Okay, we got it out. Now what?
Right. Now what? I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Was it there? There had to be a sense of, we got to figure out what we got to figure out. We got to know what we don't know.
Yeah. So, and we've all three of us have talked this before. If you've been through any kind of a natural disaster, sometimes the disaster itself is easier than the aftermath, because, we all had one common goal, which was to stop the fire.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You had said before, we were all amped up on adrenaline and Mountain Dew Code Red and, ho-hos and whatever else we were grabbing. Pizza and breakfast burritos and whatever people were throwing us. Adrenaline's an amazing thing. And despite eating like we were circus clowns, I think everybody lost 10 pounds.
Probably.
When that crashes, boy, you almost get in a state where it's sort of hard to think for a little bit.
I bet.
A lot of people were in denial for the first couple of days.
Yeah.
Oh, I think so.
I mean, and not like this didn't happen. It was more like, I came out of it.
We're okay.
Everything's fine.
We're okay.
I think we're fine.
Like the fire stopped.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
Right.
And it took a little while for people like,
we're not fine.
There's some aftermath I need to deal with.
Yep.
We needed to deal with clean clothes is what we needed.
Yeah.
Because we probably changed clothes a couple times because you'd just be filthy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just black.
Owen didn't.
Owen.
Well,
Owen didn't.
So-
That's another good story.
So here's another story for you. It was
I don't even know what day.
maybe Monday. And so, like, real life needs to happen again. Boys need to go to school, and so getting them up, getting them ready for school. And I said, and you need to take a shower, because I don't know the last time you had a shower. And he's like, I don't know the last time I had a shower either, Dad, but I've been wearing the same undies for 4 days.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And I go, for 4 days. And he goes, I didn't have time to change them. And when I did, I didn't even care. And so,
where's Grandma Laura?
so
I know, yeah.
but yeah, you're right. Like, everything was black, smelled like soot, smelled like
Everything
smoke.
smelled like smoke, yep.
Yeah.
So you had gone to take a shower because Mom took the boys that night. She said, I'll get them to school for you. I said, that's great, because who knows what tomorrow is going to bring.
Right.
Yep.
So I was sorting through our clothes. It was jeans and hoodies and all of our winter coats, because now it's winter time again.
Yeah. And everything's in some stage of being wet.
Everything, yes. So I'm making piles in the bedroom. Here's the hoodies. Here's the jeans. And as you can imagine, the floor was just littered with clothes. You literally just fell into bed every night. And so I'm sorting. And we are still set on kill. And
yeah.
I knew he was in the house, but I had my back to the door, and he came through the doorway. I don't even know if he said anything, did you?
No.
And I just turned
I
around.
about got beat with that street sign.
Oh my gosh. I turned around and he was right there. And did I scream like a little girl? Because in my mind I did.
No, it was far more intimidating.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was not little girl.
But I mean,
It startled me. Woman.
But then like the delusional little kid who has not slept and taken a nap. Like that is where I went. I giggled for the next 15 minutes. I could not stop laughing. And I felt so silly about it. But I mean,
often a response after a major.
My heartbeat was a beat.
I'm like,
at that point.
Why are you laughing? She's like, just because I'm so nervous. I'm like, about what? She's like, I don't know.
It's terrible.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, so tried to recover some resemblance of life, which has been hard, right? Because for the next 2 weeks after that, every night the air would get heavy and it would just push smoke down in the valley. Yeah. And so we spent 2 weeks just living in that.
That gulch that we talked about, that 5 mile long stretch.
Yeah. It was just a funnel for all of that.
It was like a chimney, and it would just all that smoke right out of the valley right to the house. And yeah, like you said, we'd come home at night and like we had our trail that we just would drive to make sure there was nothing flaring up. But it was really hard to tell because there was just smoke all the time.
So we kind of start trying to get back to real life as much as we can. And then just because of the nature of what we do here at the feed store, we ended up involved then in some relief activities for, donation to hay and feed. And so that has been a big portion of what we've been doing since then.
The recoveries began, and people have gone out. They figured out the fences they need to fix. They figured out any livestock issues and hay, and again, outpouring of support from across the state with hay and stuff like that and different things. And one of the things that you and I have talked about too is how farmers and ranchers are working together, that often don't necessarily, but farmers have said, hey, we got this land, we're going to plant corn, we can put some oats in here. We can get your cattle out here and put on some pivot acres and do some different things. And God always manages to do something good in a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody has seen the goodness that has come out of some of this. It's still not going to be easy. There's still a lot of obstacles to come over, but that's kind of the sense. And I've talked to all these people is that, it is really cool to see people coming together to get this done.
For sure.
Yeah. And you guys have been a big part of that here in town. And so many people have stepped up to help. And, these 23 loads of hay, 22, something like that, came in that first group that came in.
22 officially made it. One didn't make it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But you guys had that, here we go. This is where this is going to go. This is where this is going to go. Yeah. And it was a Band-Aid, but it was a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So Erin stepped up. Just one thing that she does really well is logistics and organizing, planning, and just keeping structure. And so she was working with a couple other gals and another guy here locally. They kind of formed a team on that. And so they all worked really hard. Everybody had their own strengths, and just there were so many people reaching out wanting to help,
right?
That there had to be a way to organize that.
It was the list. We were trying to gather a list at KRVN of all the places that you could give money and you could help, and the list became so long.
Yeah.
So we need a clearinghouse. We need some way to organize this, and that's a lot of what you did.
Yeah, that's a bunch of what Erin did, was just putting people in need in connection with people with donations and vice versa. And just so because of what we do here, just on the feed side, we were dealing mostly with just feed and feed products the best we could, but you did a lot of that.
But we kind of had an advantage though too, because if we didn't service that customer with feed, we at least knew where a lot of these people were.
Yeah.
So like when those 22 trucks came in, we knew it a little bit ahead of time. I think I had a day or two to prep for it and kind of knew what everybody needed, what style of feed they needed. So had a list of, okay, we were supposed to get 20 is what we were supposed to get.
Yep.
And 22 showed up. But so I had those pieces of paper ready and gave it, as the trucker came in, it was, okay, what do you have? Because we had corn stalks, we had grass, we had alfalfa. And so then we'd give them that sheet, and we had our crew there, and then another neighbor that was there that kind of knew some areas. And with the deal that we had all the pins for everybody. And so, okay, this trucker, you go talk to this person and he'll tell you how to get there, because as you know, Google is not well in the South Hills.
No, it doesn't work in the South Hills.
And so, I mean, we just had to tell them, like, okay, this is where you're going, but don't follow Google. Like, this is how you need to get there. And so that was really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of old school there. Right?
Yeah, so it was fun on that sheet. It was who the producer was, their phone number, directions, how to get to their place, and we tied that to the load. So that convoy showed up at, I don't know what time, 11:30?
Yeah.
12 o'clock, something like that. We staged them all out of our warehouse because we just said, look, like, just meet us there. It's easy to get to. We got room for all the semis. That was a pretty cool sight to see.
I bet.
And we had a couple different folks picked up donated lunch. And so we had like Runza and Subway, I think, or something like that.
Like that.
And they were all able to stop. Like they showed up, they got their marching orders, they got their lunch, and they were gone again in an hour. And that's only because they wanted to stand around for a half an hour and just
talk,
stretch and talk.
Well, and a lot of them were coming from northeast Nebraska. So they had probably 4 or 5 hours on the road.
Yep. I talked to the guy that was heading up that convoy probably at 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock. He was already east of Kearney headed home.
Really?
And he's like, it went awesome. Like, thank you guys for all the hard work. Because, I mean, the people knew the loads were coming. They had loaders on the other end ready. Like, I don't think anybody had to wait unless they wanted to.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really
cool.
Yeah,
Aaron did a ton of work on that. Your team.
Yep.
Whole team. I mean, certainly a team effort, but yeah.
Well, it's really amazing. And I think the interesting, stay tuned to the Farmer Town podcast in the future, because you're going to know more about, where everything is. The hills are already starting to green up a little bit, and in places, well, I mean, as much as it can do without ever getting any rain, so that's encouraging, but it's still going to be a while before any cattle can get out on them.
Exactly.
And, somebody said to me too, thank God this wasn't fall, because cattle would have all been out and spread out in the fields, right?
Yep, that would have been a bad deal.
Yeah, most of that area is summer grazing, so thankfully there were not a lot of cattle in the path of the fire. So they were all at home for calving season, locked up pretty close to homes.
Yep. So that was a good thing for sure. And we're just getting into now what fencing and refencing is going to look like. I mean, we really haven't even tackled that for the most part. So that'll be a ongoing project over the summer. But
so this was all pretty heavy for the Farmer Town podcast here today.
Almost too heavy.
So we probably should do. You gotta buy, sell, and you got.
I thought you'd never ask.
Okay.
We're going to buy, sell, throw it in a ditch, maybe. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know if I'm comfortable burning it.
Yeah, we shouldn't burn anymore. That's probably true.
At least I think we're probably still in a burn ban, actually.
I think, No, well, the governor lifted that quite a while ago, but whatever.
Yeah. So we're probably buy, sell, throw it in a ditch, maybe.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That sounds better.
And hey, this edition of Buy, Sell, Throw It in a Ditch has been brought to you by Fitz at Ag Works, Ben Fitzwater back there in eastern Nebraska. He's got all the stuff, all the tools, all the time, and all the knowledge to help you with your ag leader equipment. We are in planting season, or just very close.
Very close.
No farm and ranch update today because, we had fire update. Yeah. But Jared, are you planting yet?
No, it's these lows keep around pretty low. There's just so I thought it was going to get started next week, but next weekend's a lot of 30s for lows. So.
Lowest of lows, man.
Are you going to have to? I know some people said they were going to have to turn the irrigation on and then plant.
Already put on about 2 inches. Pre-watered before strip till, watered after strip till. Probably have to water after planting if it doesn't rain. So yeah, firing up pivots and just.
In case you didn't know, it's very dry.
Yeah. Well, and also trying to do an ad read. So if you could.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
jumped.
So very good.
You were doing great.
That's why we had to stop them.
I know. We were shocked. At how well it was going.
Yeah. But hey, if the sprayer's not spraying accordingly, if the planter's not planting like it's supposed to, if the strip till shutoffs are not working correctly on the fertilizer, get a hold of Ben Fitzwater at Fitz at Ag Works. As Scott pointed out last time, do we have contact information for him? Yes, I have his personal cell phone number. I guess if you want that, you'll have to reach out to me. I am not comfortable putting that out there. But you can find him on Facebook and Google and that sort of thing, Eastern Nebraska, all the way out to, well, here, honestly.
Yeah.
So Ben Fitzwater, Fitz at AgWorks, he'll get you set up. Ag
Thanks,
leader, dealer, sales, and service. All right, buy, sell, throw it in a ditch. What we're doing tonight, because there's 4 of us, we all decided to come up with I decided you would all come up with an idea. So it's going to be super random. And I think it's going to be buy, sell, throw it in the ditch. So you can have 2 middle of the road ones on this.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
So
all right.
who wants to go first?
I went in a pretty heavy direction, so now I got to recalibrate. We're trying to make this more positive.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, I will go first.
Go ahead, please.
I had a couple. I was trying to
We
decide.
should go ladies first.
We will. Do we want to go ladies first?
I don't know. I really want to know what you guys are.
Okay, all right.
first.
All right, that's fair.
All right. So the point of this is it's going to be kind of light and airy.
Yes.
And it's going to be a random smattering of buy sell items. So,
all right.
I mean, it is like a garage sale.
Okay.
All right. So they don't have to, usually they're sort of in the same vein. Today, not so much, right?
Going random.
All right.
Okay.
First item, pay at the pump.
All right.
Gas station stuff.
Okay.
Pay at the pump, gas pumps. That's mine.
Buy, sell, or we're doing 4 of them?
Yeah. So everybody's got a list there so we know what we're doing.
Oh.
And then we can make a decision.
All right. Okay.
Oh, I missed it.
I did too. All right. So we're good. So that's your one thing.
That's my thing. Yep.
I'm going to go along that vein then. I'm changing.
Oh, you can do what you want.
I'm going to go self-checkout at
Oh, I like that.
the grocery store, the Walmart, whatever.
All right.
Are we staying in the same theme?
No.
No.
You can
do
go
whatever
random.
you want.
No.
We just
I
have.
don't
He
know.
just urged me. Oh.
I almost,
brain fog.
I actually almost went with gravy because I just like gravy so much.
Oh,
but
I'm
I
a
figured
big
that'd be
fan
a
of
clear
gravy.
winner. So,
Okay.
all right.
Well, I am going with pickles.
Oh,
Dill pickles that like you get at the high school sports event.
like the gigantic
The
dill pickles.
gigantic
Oh,
best
okay.
pickle
All right.
you've
I like
ever
that.
had.
That's
I like
that.
I
Pickle.
got that one an easy place for. Okay.
This one's
You're-
actually going to be harder than I thought.
Oh, this is
And Jared's thinking.
Jared is working hard
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah, I was completely preparing for a whole different thing. So we're just throwing another random.
Just
fourth
throw
item.
random anything.
Yeah.
We got pickles.
Or
we got,
if you have an item
Paint
from
the
the
pump.
other list you were thinking of.
No, these
No,
are
okay.
more. Yeah, so I'll throw a pocket knife in there.
Oh, all right. So this edition of buy, sell, throw it in the ditch is pay at the pump, gas pump, self-checkout at the grocery store, pocket knives, and
Dill
large
pickles.
dill pickle, specifically concession stand large dill pickles.
yeah.
All right.
Basketball game, high school, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mm.
All right. Who wants to tackle that first?
Boy, that is.
wow, that's a list.
All right, I'll go first.
Go
Here we
ahead, do it. It's your show, man.
It is. This is harder than I thought. So I'm going to start with my own item. I am selling it because I don't love it, because I like to socialize with people, and sometimes I like to make a trip into the gas station for a candy bar. And so I don't love paying at the pump. However, I'm selling it because I also don't hate it, because sometimes I don't want to socialize and I don't need another snack and I just want to get my gas and leave. So that is going to be a sell item
right.
for me.
You're a complex man.
I
You
am.
really are.
I am.
Okay.
I am also going to. I think I am selling the self-checkout as well. I actually really like the self-checkout. I almost never go through a manned checkout
Mhm.
aisle anymore. So I think I'm going to sell
Okay.
that, because I am going to buy the pocket knife.
Mm.
The line of work that we are in, forever there is shrink wrap that needs cut off of something. I would be completely lost and my fingernails would be filthy with no pocket knife. And so buying a pocket knife, unfortunately, I am throwing gigantic concession stand dill pickle in
I
the
knew you
ditch.
would.
Not because I hate it. Just out of all these things, that is probably my least favorite. So there's mine. All right. Who's next?
All right. Okay. Well, I'll do it. Let's, I think I'm going to, I do like the self-checkout, but I'm kind of like you. I don't mind the socialization
Yeah.
once in a while.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be buying like alcohol, it's a whole
Yeah,
thing. It
that's
becomes
different.
a whole thing. So I'll probably sell that.
Okay. I got a
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you find that you do that differently based on what store or where you're at?
Yeah, I'm much more likely to do the self-checkout at Walmart
Same.
than I am here.
Yeah. So if I'm
Probably.
at Fresh Seasons, because I appreciate Michael Peterson and everything he does and the people that he employ, I want them to still have their job. And I like those folks. And so, I will too. But at Walmart, it's self-checkout.
Well, and here's my thing about, everybody said, well, what are they going to do if they don't? Well, most of the people are doing going and grabbing all this stuff for people that do it to get it online. So I think they got more people working there.
Probably do.
Anyway,
let's
see here. I love the pay at the pump because oftentimes I'm coming home late from games, and it used to be, if we didn't pay at the pump, you couldn't get gas.
That's true.
So I think I'm going to buy that.
That lets us run closer to E, don't it?
It sure does.
Yeah.
I thought you changed that, though.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yes.
I did. That's another thing that came out of this fire. Did I admit that on air or just to you?
No,
personally?
just to me. Then you said it'd never see the light of day. So
okay.
I'm glad Aaron brought it up.
We'll leave it there. Go ahead.
Interesting.
I will say.
See this on the extended version of the podcast.
Yeah, you never know when fire may break out and you want a full tank. So I have changed my ways.
Interesting.
Like if it gets around a quarter, I'm like, oh, we need gas. That did change.
Not riding the E. Riding the E.
Go ahead.
So if I bought the pay at the pump, I'm selling the self-checkout. The pocket knife is great. I'm not you guys, so I'm not out cutting things as much as you guys might be. I can probably sell that and use the screwdriver or something to open up what I have to open up. But I am completely throwing the dill pickle in the ditch because I've tried, Aaron. I have tried to like pickles. I just can't. It's not in me to do it.
Now, hold up. Do you dislike all pickles or just dill pickles?
I can't find any of them.
So like sweet pickles, bread
really.
and butter pickles?
No.
Sauerkraut?
No. Sauerkraut. Pickles?
Well, pickled cabbage. Probably fermented cabbage.
It's fermented, but
it's fermented.
All right, fermented.
Whatever. But no, I just
pickled ginger at the sushi bar.
What about a reverse engineered pickle? Do you like cucumbers?
Nope.
Okay,
that might be the root of it.
I think it is the root of it.
I think
it all comes from that.
So you don't like the dill pickle that somebody smears with cream cheese and wraps dried beef around, and then cuts it into little poker chip sized pieces?
It's not bad.
Oh,
I will eat a fried. I will eat a fried pickle.
Oh, now he doesn't hate all pickles.
But that's. Listen,
do you wish to
fried?
Do you wish to redact that
no,
statement?
I'm still the big old. Mm-mm.
Have you been to the Frontier Frau?
I have.
Have you had the dill pickle soup?
No.
It's interesting.
You wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't like it.
No.
Even the dill chips.
Oh yeah, those are good. I do like those.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
All right,
Aaron, you want to go?
Sure.
All right.
Well, obviously, I have to buy the pickle because
now you do.
I do. I love my pickles. And
Owen does too.
And Owen does
really,
too,
you
yes.
passed it on.
I passed it
genetically onto it.
Yep,
okay.
And now they have, like at the baseball concession stand, they put pickle juice in the little plastic cup and freeze it.
Yep.
And you can get a pickle juice popsicle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and Owen does all the time.
It's
supposed to be good for what? Cramps or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
I'll eat a banana.
Yeah.
So I'm probably selling the pocket knife and selling the self-fueling station. How did you say that?
Pay at the pump.
Pay at the pump, yep. And throw it into the road ditch of self-checkout. I don't like that.
Okay.
You don't like self-checkout?
She's just mad because I threw the dill pickle away. She's mad at me.
I work all day and I don't want to have to work again at night to check out groceries.
That's a valid point.
Like, come on.
Self-cleaning bathroom, you got to go in there and take care of that yourself.
Yes.
And you don't, but it's faster though, right? Don't you think? As long as it goes as planned.
You're trying to buy some booze and then it doesn't work.
That's true. Unless you're buying booze, then it slows things down.
No, because now, no, I hate it.
Okay. Go ahead. No. I want to know where that was going.
Well, I was thinking about our trip to Kearney when I was getting really mad at it because it kept just being mad at me.
Oh.
I thought I was stealing stuff. And
yeah.
And then you double check it. And
right.
then you have to wait for somebody to come.
Okay.
Like if I have to wait for somebody anyway, I just will go through a line where they're going to help.
Or it's like unexpected item in the bag area.
That's right.
So you take it out and it's like you remove something from the bag area. Like I cannot win.
Yeah.
Right now.
I get you.
And honestly, when we have, all right, Michael Peterson, if you're listening to this,
I'm sure he is.
When we have you on here, we do need to. Fresh Seasons self-checkout gives a little bit of a problem
I've never had a problem there.
It doesn't
Really?
like your
I've never-
buyer's reward card.
It does not like your buyer reward card. That
Oh,
upsets
okay.
the system.
Okay.
But I don't hardly ever use it anyway. So, all right.
Yep.
Anything else?
Okay.
I think
That's all you wish to say?
Yep.
Okay.
What did you, so you bought the pickle.
Of course.
Okay, just
Yeah.
checking.
Oh, hey, that throwback to the last time Foster was on here, but you probably haven't listened to the last episode yet.
I don't remember.
You were
For
talking
shame.
about
I have.
they took a gigantic dill pickle.
Yeah, quartered out, hot dog, and then fried into a corn dog.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to try that.
I could get behind that.
I would like to try that too. I think that sounds phenomenal. I didn't know if you'd heard that yet or not.
Was
but
that with the hot dog water?
it was the hot
Yes.
dog water one.
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know if
You
you'd heard
took
that.
it.
That was a good one.
All right, so I'm buying pocket knife.
Yeah,
sure.
Use it all the time. Not as much as Dad. Dad makes that thing a shovel, a screwdriver.
Really?
I mean,
Oh, wow.
Tiny pry bar.
Yeah, it is
Swiss Army knife.
like wonders why it's dull. You can't fathom. Like we're going out there checking seed depth behind the planter, and I'm just kind of slowly sweeping away soil, and he's over there just digging halfway to China with a pocket knife.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
It's like, that's why it's dull. At times when you actually want to cut something, it's no longer, it's a pocket tool, not a pocket knife.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm buying it, I use it a lot. And, it's just a little bit of a self-defense thing. At some point, I don't know, if you ever get in a situation, you feel like at least you have some sort
Like
of
a letter you can't get opened or something.
yeah.
For self-defense. A self-defense letter. What are you talking?
I
All
don't
right. Okay.
And then close second, they're going to sell the big dill pickle. Like I might even go find the pickles in the road ditch you guys threw out and wash it off. And
That's fair.
love pickles.
Wow.
What?
And I remember
Wow.
it so fondly. My 9th birthday, my Uncle Mark bought me the Sam's jar. That's
Oh, yeah.
look at my hand. It's
Yes.
about this tall and this wide, full of whole dill pickles.
Oh, yeah.
Mom did not love how much room that took in the fridge.
I suppose.
But I ate them all. So
The thing, you could get thrown out of a sports venue for having the pocket knife, but you will not get thrown out for having a large dill pickle.
It's true.
and you may still be able to use it as a weapon.
The pickle?
Maybe.
Especially if it came on like a sharp pointy stick.
Yeah, that's right.
Just saying.
Who gets a pickle on a stick?
Well, what if it's in that corn dog we're talking about?
Well, that's
Oh,
true.
well, okay. It's like a pickle kebab then.
Oh, a
I-
pickle
I might-
kebab?
A pickle kebab.
That sounds fantastic.
I'm down with that. Let's workshop that. So then next thing so there's a huge chasm here.
Okay.
Well, we're filling it up with stuff we don't
With
want. We're
Pickles.
throwing it in there.
And this is where the introvert comes out. Probably going to sell the self-checkout just because like this, you would think it would be more avoiding people, but there's someone always standing there just watching you like a hawk. You always
Oh,
have
yeah.
an attendant there. So
Yeah.
you're still being watched. And I don't know. I only use self-checkout if I have like 3 items and there's people at the lanes. And it's just like, well, why bother them? Why stand in line for 3 simple items? I'll just self-checkout and get out.
Right.
And then I'll probably throw the pay at the pump in the ditch. And I think
Really?
it's probably because being a farmer, you usually have fuel on site. So
No, yeah.
that's always an option. And you're just always worried some extrovert's going to pull up across the pump and want to start a
Have a
conversation with you.
Okay. All right. We've identified a few things here.
We have.
Not wrong.
We have. I will say part of my weight loss program, which has not been terribly successful, but pay at the pump has been a large part of that because I am incapable of going into a gas station and coming out empty-handed. Like I just cannot do it. I don't know why that is, but
Mhm.
We never have to go in.
well, I know that's why I pay at the pump. That's the
Yeah.
point.
So you don't
Oh,
have
I
to.
got
So I don't have
I
to.
see.
That's why.
Because
Yeah.
there's people in there.
Pay at the pump.
Well, it's pretty people-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
On the pocket knives, are we thumbs up, thumbs down on replaceable blades in the pocket knife?
Oh, thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Oh, Scott doesn't use one, so you know.
I've got the same one than my same pocket knife that I've had for 25 years. So I guess
I'm impressed you can keep. That is impressive.
Thanks.
I am thumbs up on replace. You don't like replaceable blade.
No, they're too thin. They lose their edge too quick.
That's not entirely wrong.
So if I want to cut through a thick-walled hose, I want a stiffer blade that can kind of not get flimsy on me.
And if
and
you
your
need,
dads could never do that. maybe if your dad had replaceable
That's
blades.
right.
Yeah, but then he can't use it for a pry bar.
Yeah,
That's true. They would never make it. They'd never make it.
it.
You're right. Mm.
So I will say I agree with both of you. I am replaceable blade forever with what we do because we cut so much shrink wrap
that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But I agree completely with what you're saying about just having better blade quality. If it's just a good old, like a old timer or a case or a, I don't know what other brands there are. But
Are we talking here, since I'm not as versed in the pocket knife culture,
in cutlery,
do you have one pocket knife or there's several different pocket knives?
Oh, there's multiple. There's your everyday work pocket knife.
Okay.
There's your nice going to church pocket knife.
Wait a minute.
There's your in between, just casual social gathering pocket knife. There's the pocket knife you keep really sharp for present occasions to help your kids open presents or nieces and nephews. You would be surprised if one kid struggles how many pocket knives how many dads start just
Right.
leaning back.
I
in their
suppose that
chairs.
is a very country thing.
Yeah.
That's very
So-
country.
I believe him completely on that.
I do too. I really do.
I carry one pocket knife
Okay.
for all occasions.
Okay.
I'd be a
They
little.
make such good gifts. I've gotten them in gifts, and I just don't have the heart to throw them away. So,
Well, I have multiple knives, but
There's just one.
it's just the one I carry.
accessorize, man.
I have a hard time keeping track of the one I have, which I've done pretty well. Owen gave it to me for Father's Day about 5 years ago, and I still got it.
Is it
pretty good.
in your pocket
It
right
is.
now?
It is. Everybody show your knives right now. We got everybody to.
You already have it?
No.
That's why you've had it 25 years.
Yeah,
at
because it's
home.
in my desk. That's why it's. Oh, nice. What
So
quite a menagerie here.
Yeah.
I like it.
Aaron and I's are similar.
Yeah, they look
Yes,
the
they
same.
are. That
This is the Gerber one here. As you can see, all the chrome
For
nickel.
baby food.
Yes,
Yeah, I was
for
gonna say.
opening baby food.
okay.
All of the chrome nickel plating is rubbing off.
It
This
sure
one.
is.
I've had it so long,
Sure
but
is.
I love this knife, and I would not hesitate
I can
to
see
stab
where you
you
went
with
with
it.
the self-defense on that bad boy.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's,
3-inch
that's not a
blade.
knife. That's a knife. Okay.
You have to have a locking blade for safety reasons.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. Have you? Okay, so have you ever? You don't count because
Okay, that's fine. Clearly, I'm out of this whole discussion.
Okay, the rest of us, everybody has done the walk of shame back to the vehicle with the pocket knife when you tried to pocket knife into somewhere that, like courthouse or sporting event, or concert venue, or the rodeo at North Platts, Nebraska land days.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna tell this story.
Yeah.
So
Try to be shady.
we're walking in there, and so my clip has since. The clip no longer exists on my knife, but back then it still was on there, and I had it clipped on the side of my pocket, inside the pocket, but clipped.
Inside the pocket, but in the pocket.
And I'm walking in, and I notice that they're like kind of looking at that sort of thing. So I stick my finger over there and just slide it up and let it drop in my pocket. And Rent-A-Cop comes up and goes, "Did I just see you drop a pocket knife in your pocket?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Is that what you saw?"
Where else does the pocket knife go?
Well, and also, like, if you knew the answer to that
Hence the
question,
name.
why are you asking me? I'm like, "Is that what you think you saw?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, well, maybe it is then." And he's like, "You got to take that back to your vehicle or you can't come in." I'm like, "That's fine, but if there is a net wrap situation, this is on you."
Yeah,
I'm at a rodeo,
right.
and I had to leave the pocket knife in the pickup.
Those net wrap situations can become situations.
That absolutely can become situations.
I'll guarantee you there were pocket knives at the rodeo. There were guys with pocket knives and ladies at the rodeo that
were
made
just-
it through. You just were fiddling with it.
I
If you would
know.
stop playing with things in your pocket, then it would be
There was
fine.
probably some kid in there trying to open a box that was tape shut
Yeah.
and could not get it
Yeah.
open.
You know,
Like, if you got a sign hanging on the fence needs to come down in a hurry, I don't know how it's ever going to happen because we can't cut it down now.
Guess the fire's coming through if you can't get that sign.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Aaron can't beat it out. Can't get it down.
that's right.
It's
It
just gonna keep
probably
going.
saved lives.
Yeah, my goodness. Well,
Okay.
all right. That
There we go.
is buy, sell, throw it in a ditch for this April 18th.
Yep.
Edition.
April 19th.
19th?
April 18th.
18th.
Is
Do
it
I got
really?
a 17th? Hey, he's going to give me a 17th.
How many?
All right. That is that edition brought to you by Fitsit Ag Works.
No,
And
it is not. Is it really the 18th?
I think
Yeah.
it is.
If,
yeah.
if this calendar is right,
18th.
Huh.
Looked it up on the old phone. So the month of April
you
is
go.
scooting by
sure it
in
is.
a hurry. All right. We've been in it a minute. Do we want to do what are you looking at, or are we? So I suggested maybe we were going to not do that as much. And then I had a fan tell me that they love that part. So
Oh,
we need
okay.
to do that. But
It's my favorite episode.
That's your favorite part of the episode?
Yep.
All right.
Oh.
Somebody else has got to do it, though.
I got one.
Because my phone, I think it knows that I'm trolling it, and it's like, I'm going to give you nothing to work with. So
Oh,
while
Make
Jared,
sure it'll pan out.
while Jared is getting his ready to go, this is What Are You Looking At? The segment of the show where we troll Google and we put a prompt in, and then we see what is going to auto-populate.
These are pretty decent.
All right, I like it. This is brought to you by the fine folks at Gothenburg Irrigation. Go see Joe and his fantastic team down there. They are a great group of people. We bump them on here because they do good work. Sure, Joe is a friend of ours, but they do excellent work. They have quality service at a fair price. They are your water well experts in the Gothenburg and surrounding area for anything home, domestic, livestock, irrigation, anything, maybe something that we haven't even thought of yet. I don't know if he does underground sprinklers, but you could certainly ask him. So we thank Gothenburg Irrigation for that. Joe Richardson and all those good people down there. What are you looking at, Jared?
So what are you looking at this week? It typed in, can anybody?
Oh, I like this.
Oh boy.
First result, can anybody find me somebody to love lyrics? And
Somebody
here
to
is
love.
Aaron to give us these lyrics.
Go,
No,
In
no.
tune.
Yeah. Yeah. On pitch. But
She's all the smoke she inhaled. It's
yeah. Yeah.
lung capacity is
Down
not
to a
what it used
tenor.
Yeah.
Yeah, down to
Right.
a tenor now.
Well, what are all the lyrics? You got them there, Andy? All
Somebody-
All right, we'll put it up here.
right. I can't remember.
I'm trying to think.
Is that the
who's
Blues Brothers?
artist?
I
Well,
think
that's
it's
what
by
I'm coming
Queen.
up with.
Oh, Queen.
So it says something.
Can
to love.
anybody
Starts off, can anybody find me somebody to love?
somebody
to
Says, ooh, each morning I get up, I die a little, can barely stand on my feet.
Oh, I hear that.
Take a look at yourself in the mirror and cry.
Well, that's going a little far.
Yeah, it'll happen though. It'll happen.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, that was a good one. That's a good
Oops,
one.
we canceled out of there.
Yeah.
Oop.
Oh, boy.
So we got to type back in.
I wonder if we sang too long. Are they going to, FCC going to let us be?
I think we were within 10 seconds. so
We
we're
should be good.
Oh, so now it kind of.
Oh, it
so
picked
we're
you
going to
up?
scroll down. Yeah, it
Okay.
started catering lyrics to me now.
Oh, okay.
But the other one, can anybody donate plasma?
Probably not. There's probably reasons you can't.
Yeah,
I don't know what that would be.
probably diseases.
Yeah,
I
communicable.
suppose plasma's kind of plasma, though. I think they'll take
Really?
I don't think there is a type to plasma.
right.
So-
So everybody, it's
Or
kind of
that's
universal.
platelets. No,
Platelets?
no plasma.
I
You're
think
probably
so.
right. Plasma.
Are they still paying for plasma?
I don't know.
I did that in college
I bet
once.
Emma could tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She was donating.
Yeah, I bet that's right.
I donated plasma once just so I could go to the horse races. That's a pretty degenerate gambling problem I had at one point, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, well, some people were coming. They wanted to go to State Fair Park. I didn't have any cash. I was in college.
Times are tough.
I went there.
Apparently.
Yeah. Didn't you guys, it was not plasma, but you donated blood after working, like laying
That
out
was terrible.
laying out irrigation pipe in 110 degree
Oh,
weather.
man. I
Yeah.
bet that I did that once when I was
Syrupy.
working on a roof, and I went back to work on the roof afterwards. That was not a good idea.
Isn't that kind of how that went?
Oh
Something
yeah,
like
no,
that?
we worked like all day, like
Oh, my
hot in
gosh.
the summer, and like we didn't drink any water probably all day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I don't think you ate either, if I remember
Probably
right.
not. We showed up at 4, and of course they ask you that question.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Have you eaten lately? Like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
Oh, heck yeah.
Totally.
Look at me.
I
Don't lift anything heavy for 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh,
Really?
man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they say.
Oh, yeah.
Then
aren't
they ask,
supposed
what are
to
you doing the
work
rest
out?
of the day? And you're like, oh, nothing, knowing full well you're probably going to go put
Exactly.
in some fence.
Huh. I'm going to be honest. I have never donated blood. It's not because I don't care or I don't wish to help. I just, I don't know how that.
Are you yellow? You a little yellow on this?
Well, yeah, a little.
Okay.
A
All
little.
right.
I've donated over a 5-gallon bucket's worth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're looking
not
kind of
quite-
peaked.
I'm not quite. I hope it wasn't all at once. I hope that
You
you did it
know.
over.
Space that
Well,
out.
you-
You
it's supposed
squeeze
to-
that ball really
I
hard.
got
and
the,
you
I got
be
the card
amazing.
in here somewhere. You know what the thing is, though? When you go through the rapid pass, and they
Yeah.
ask you all these questions,
Is that like
And
TSA clear or
Yeah,
whatever?
it is. They ask you, have you been out of the country? Have you, had sex with anybody you weren't supposed to? That kind of stuff.
Family show.
It's
They ask it.
people have that, and so but the thing is, I feel like, God, I have such an awful life.
I know.
My life is so boring. I keep saying
It's
no
like,
to
have you
all
ever
of this.
visited these countries? You don't even bother reading.
No,
You're
it's
no,
like,
I've
no,
never
I
left the
clearly
U.S. So
haven't.
that's
Yeah.
a no.
I haven't even left Nebraska
Yeah,
lately.
right.
I know,
so-
right? No.
All right.
Okay, good.
Can anybody learn to sing?
I think we just proved no.
I think we have tried, and I've tried to like pickles, can't do it. I've tried to sing, can't do it.
Can anybody go to Antarctica?
Oh.
In theory.
If you got to have some
Yeah.
money, if you got money, you can go anywhere.
And what a terrible use of money.
Boy, I would
Oh,
think-
yeah.
I think it'd be better at the horse races than it would be.
Why would you want to go to Antarctica?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Not from
It
like
is cool.
Yeah.
But it's very cold.
yeah, cold.
I don't know.
Not from like a scientific discovery standpoint. Like you just want to be a tourist.
I don't even know if you can do that.
Well, that's what it just
They don't
asked,
have-
and we said
Like
you
go
could.
stand 6 inches away from a snowbank and you've pretty much seen it.
Put your head in the freezer.
Okay. All right. Fine.
I don't know.
Okay.
Can
I won't-
anybody run for president?
Well, I think we've
Mm.
proved that point out.
Hey.
You got to be 35. There's
No,
a whole lot of
apparently
rules.
you have to be like 65.
Well, that helps.
Is there's probably some
Yes,
like you
there's several. You've got to
Yeah,
be
there
got to
are
be a U.S.
requirements.
citizen. You have to be.
can't be a felon. Maybe you can be.
Well, we've clearly. All right, moving on. We
you
need
have
to
to
get
be
off of this
rich.
one quickly.
You have to, yeah.
That's kind of where the list ends.
Oh.
Okay, well that was interesting.
Oh, I was hoping we had a few
Can
more.
you
I was enjoying
can you
that.
fight fires on a
Easy.
four-wheeler?
You're pulling on my
Sorry,
cord here.
there we go.
No, it's under your
Oh,
foot.
here's another one. I
Yes.
just put a
sorry.
space in.
I'm sorry, dude.
Can anybody get a death certificate? There's one sure way.
There is.
I guess everyone will get one eventually.
Do they mean like, can I just call and get one for you? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
like a pre one. You know, just for
I don't know, ahead of time.
Mhm.
Speed stuff up at the gate.
wow.
Yeah, so.
You got another one? That was fun. Let's do another one.
Okay. No, I don't have another topic. Does anybody else have one?
Put in how far is?
How far is?
Oh, I like this already.
That's a good start.
I like this.
How far is the 5K?
Hey, yeah, it's kind of in the name. What do you got the miles conversion?
3.3.
3.3
You
miles.
know that's Americans typing that.
That's-
Yep.
I love
Yepper.
that.
Mhm.
I love that.
How far is the moon from the Earth?
I heard that recently. Isn't it with the supposed moon landing that we,
Here we go.
Oh, gee, is
Um,
he going to do this right now?
Oh, yeah.
what is it? Is it like 30,000, between 30 and 35,000 miles?
I don't.
Got nothing.
I remember the
Takes
distance from
him
the sun.
3
I don't
days,
remember.
doesn't it?
I
Yeah.
think it changes because it's elliptical. It's not circular. So sometimes the moon is closer. So when you're like, wow, the moon looks really big. Like, well, that's because it's closer. So,
All right. Well, not enough facts to answer that question.
yeah.
We need more.
I don't know. What was the question? How far is the moon?
Is the
How
moon
far-
from the Earth?
I'm going to look it up because
All
I'm
right.
curious.
Okay.
Next one's how far is a click?
Oh, that's a good
It is a
question.
good question.
Oh, no. Now I'm going to sound like a complete idiot on here.
God, you just missed one. You're
I was
just one off.
Yeah,
Two.
I was a significant figure off at 238,000 ish.
Hmm.
I thought it was 30,000. Apparently, I was thinking 300,000. Or
How many clicks is that?
well, how far is a click?
Yes. How far is a click?
What did we decide?
It's a nautical term, so that's nowhere I want to be. I'm
Is it?
land lover.
Don't they use? Doesn't the army use clicks?
Oh, maybe so.
Like when they are. Listen, in MASH, they used clicks when they were trying to
Oh,
find where the
okay.
minefield was.
So it's
Oh, yeah, they did.
They did.
okay. So maybe it's not just a nautical term.
So I don't know.
Or maybe it's like the click, like the remote. Like
No.
how far is
A
the
clicker?
Click? How
It's
far
the
is
length,
a click?
the length of the original clicker?
A click is roughly 3,281 feet,
Interesting.
or approximately 0.62 miles.
I
was
love how
gonna
they say
say
it's
just-
approximately 3,201
Yeah.
feet. Like,
And
Yeah.
it's a pretty specific number.
And that's in standard. If you want metric system, it's slang for 1 kilometer.
Oh, you
Okay.
could have gone with that.
Yeah, I could have, but
You
I didn't
could have
want to.
So,
led.
so a 5K is 5 clicks.
5 clicks.
It's I run on a 5 click.
I learned a 5 click.
Yeah. Do you know the moon's only like 30,000 miles away? No wonder it looks so
Stat
big.
of the day. Stat of the day.
That would really cause trouble with the tide. I suppose.
Oh
Sure
yeah, there would be quite the
Boy.
tide. Yes.
I don't know that we know. We've never actually
Okay, here we go.
Well, here's a Sarah Palin. It's how far is Russia from Alaska?
I can see it out my back window, she said. So
30,000 miles.
You're not allowed to answer these anymore.
Just a few clicks.
Well, it's just right across the Bering Strait there.
Yep.
So which is like 30 miles.
So you go across there, fish for some crab, and you're Russia.
Come back. And it freezes over the land bridge. Well, that's how
Do you want
came here.
Do you want it in standard or in the metric system?
I want in clicks.
Yes. Which clearly is the metric system, I guess.
Right,
So
clicks. Now there's got to be some math involved. 88 clicks to answer your question, or 55 miles.
Oh, okay.
So
I think I said
yeah, so
35.
you could
you
could see it from the moon for sure.
pole vault that.
Did you say the ice land bridge?
Mhm.
So you don't believe in Pangea? Then it was all just one big.
Well, that's how all of our Russian relatives came here. Is they went across the land bridge.
What makes you think I have a Russian relative?
Well, I can just look at you.
Your communist
And
tendencies.
that's true. There's a little bit of a.
You take that back.
There's that Russian aggression in you.
There it is, and it does kind of look like Putin a little bit, especially when he takes his shirt off. Then it's really riding a horse. Moving on.
Last relevant ones, like
Please.
how far is 10,000 steps? Enough to go from Russia to Alaska?
Yes, but not the moon.
But not the
But not
No,
the moon.
no, the moon is quite a little farther.
Yeah, like several steps.
It's probably why we never actually got there. 10,000 steps.
10,000 steps.
Yeah.
All right.
It is.
How far is 10,000 steps?
Well,
I suppose it
Well, it
depends,
depends
how
on
big your
who's
steps
stepping.
are. Yeah,
four and a half to 5 miles for most people.
Oh,
Okay.
so you could, a 5-click in
You could.
5-click,
10,000 steps, maybe.
7 to 8 clicks, roughly. 4.5 to 5 miles or 7 to 8 clicks.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Yep.
Man.
Well, now we know. All right. That has been What Are You Looking At for the Would We Decide 18th of April, brought to you by Gothenburg Irrigation in Gothenburg, Nebraska. What else do we got going on? Is that going to do her for today?
I think they got a full, rich day here in this
They
podcast.
did. They did. That may take a couple sittings to get worked through that.
I bet you
depending
it
on
will.
what you're doing. We will keep you updated on just, fire stuff as we progress through that. But
Well, we appreciate you guys telling the stories of this because this is just such a huge deal and lots of stories to come out of it. And, lots of folks that did lose a lot of stuff. And, we talk about, just to kind of put a bow on this, I guess, we talked a little bit about the moral fire. Those folks could be waiting a long time to get any pasture land back because it's all sand up there. And so rain doesn't do them any good. They need snowpack. They need time. And so, hopefully we can, maybe here we can get into these pastures before maybe the end of the year or something like that, at least into next year. But this is a real tragedy.
Yeah,
it is.
I just wanted to give a huge thank you to fire departments, especially
absolutely.
the friends, neighbors, everybody that dropped everything they're doing, people helping with relief efforts. That's just been really humbling to see people coming from, a lot of people remember, what was it, 2009, the floods? No,
19,
the floods. A lot of hate's come up from there because they remember people in this part of the state helping out and just that back and forth, thinking of each other from so far away, people that don't know anybody. And it's kind of specific one, but we've had him on, the Korean corn farmer. He dropped what he was doing, came and got a hay trailer, and he has traveled over 4,000 miles.
Wow.
Really?
He kind of found a couple loads and people found out he was doing it and they just kept getting more and more and more. And he even went out and got his own hay trailer. He borrowed mine for a while and
really,
he's still getting after it. And he actually had his own crop field burn up in a small fire in Odessa while he was hauling hay. So just big thanks to Noah. And he's been on here before as a guest and
That's awesome.
he's still going. He doesn't really want mentions, so he's probably not real happy, but
no, well, we certainly won't.
But just everybody that's helped out. That's been real humbling to see, and we wouldn't be in the position we are without them. So
no, it's a good reminder. Just there's a lot of good in the world.
Yep.
I mean, all the firefighting is volunteer. That's
Yeah,
just the
they
amazing
took time
part
off
is,
of what they're doing to be.
they're not paid to do this. This is not their full-time job. They have lives and jobs outside that they set aside. And yeah, so just a big thanks to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks to Jake and Aaron for doing a lot of the relief organizations.
Yes, for sure.
Been huge in this area. So I know they won't mention it themselves, but they've done a tremendous amount of
They
work.
really have. And I've heard that from lots of people.
Yep. So thanks to you guys.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, it's the whole, it's interesting, right? Because there's so much stuff that happens, it doesn't really matter, right? And sometimes things like this kind of put that into perspective. And so it's just, we're just trying to do things that matter. And, I guess on that, Aaron, did you have anything?
Well, it just reminded me of a story of Big Chief. I was trying to think what day that was, but he was just making a comment. So somebody come around with burritos, handed them out, and he goes take a bite. And I mean, like, blisters his face. It is so hot and fresh. And he's like, holy cow, like spits it back out. And then he started talking. He's like, I will come fight your guys' fire any day. Like, I have never been fed so well on a wildfire ever. And one of the spots was Sandwich Lady's house.
Yeah.
she made all these firefighters these sandwiches after they saved her house. And so she was Sandwich Lady house. And it was just really funny that he made that comment.
That reminds me, for as big as this fire was, it was 2 homes and 20 structures.
Incredible.
Yep.
I mean, incredible effort.
And the loss of livestock wasn't much
Exactly.
either.
Yep.
So
there was far more yards in the line of fire. And yes, your hearts go out to people that lost structures, and especially homes. But for fire that scale to move that fast in those conditions,
it's crazy.
Amazing work to save structures.
Yep, absolutely. I guess I would just say in closing, just because we are not well known for being a group of individuals that talk about being down or having a problem or things being tough. I mean, like Jared said, you bury it down deep and then you just keep moving. So I would just like to say, following up, but please, if you need help, reach out. There's a bunch of us, and that may not be physical help, but you just need somebody to talk to.
Yep.
There is a lot of people around who have also been through this. You don't have to explain yourself. You can just say, hey, this is getting heavy, and people already understand. So on the flip side of that, just make sure to check in on your, friends, neighbors, relatives, people that that have been affected, and just make sure they're okay. It is, I think we're sort of turning the corner, right? Like things are starting to look a little better, I think, but it's a long way to go. So just keep track of people. Those are the kind of things that really matter. And if you want to bring us breakfast burritos, we're always up for that here at the Farmer Tan Podcast. But
all right, you want me to close it?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys' time here today, and I know everybody really appreciated your stories. There's lots of stories out there, and be gentle with yourselves as everybody goes through this, and we thank you all for listening in, and that is today's Farmer Tan Podcast.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Stories of the crops and the toil we face. Farmers Tan Podcast.